Today we're doing top 6 motorcycling books. Good morning again. We've got a lot planned for this weekend. I've not got my daughter, so I've got the full weekend. So I'm going to be doing some bits on my bike. I'm going to be getting out on the bike. I'm actually going to get an MOT. I've got one prospective buyer coming, so I'm hoping to put him off. But yeah, we'll also be doing some reviews, some product reviews. I paid for these things myself, and the unused as yet. I bought them over the winter. So I've got the Tech Speed Brando jacket, motorcycle jacket. I'll be taking a look at the Bell Custom 500 open face helmet, and I'll be looking at the Beeline Moto navigation system. But today, got my coffee, because I do these before work. Well, it's only 7:30 a.m, so yeah, I start work around 8ish. Yeah, let's have a look at our first book, and this is the motorcycle maintenance tech book. It's one of the Haynes manuals, and it's by a guy called Keith Wayhill. And it's a general kind of book about motorcycle maintenance. It was the book that was recommended when I did my City and Guilds. And I have to say, it's fantastic. It covers everything, really quite basically, but everything that you could potentially want to know, really, right the way through from just general maintenance to more in-depth stuff like kind of, taking off the head of the engine, doing the kind of valves and tappets, this kind of stuff, timing, and it assumes no prior knowledge, which is really useful. So that's the Motorcycle Maintenance Tech Book by Keith Wayhill. Right, another slurp of coffee. And the next one on my list, next couple on my list are more like kind of about bike sport, motorcycle racing. So a practical one is A Twist of the Wrist by Keith Code. So if you've ever wanted to do bike racing or do track days, for example, it sounds funny, isn't it? Because a lot of riding a bike is intuitive, but this is really useful. Keith Code is kind of famous for the creator, the founder of the California Superbike School. They have a franchise in the UK, and certainly when I did this on the course themselves, they used to actually use Kawasaki ZZR 600s on a strange contraption that allowed the bike to lean over while you were riding it, like a funny kind of cantilever system. But this is really good. It's American, so the language is a bit peculiar to English eyes, but it is really useful how to approach cornering effectively, because that's what it is. And if you were taking one thing away from this book, is certainly on a track, if you're racing, you're not actually racing the other riders at all. The thing you're racing is the track. So you've got to do the track better than the other riders. The other riders shouldn't really figure in the equation. So it's if you're looking at doing this, or just for interest, really, it will help your road riding as well. A Twist of the Wrist, the Motorcycle Racer's Handbook by Keith Code. Right, and before I go on, another slip of coffee. I don't get sponsored by Lavazza, by the way. It's just that I do like coffee. Okay. Next book, again, it's not that new. It probably needs updating. but it's by Julian Ryder, and it's actually a Haynes book, The World Superbikes First 10 Years. So covers the first 10 years of World Superbikes, and it's the period when my interest in racing was its height. And I still think, certainly in terms of like the competitive nature of the racing and the bikes themselves, because you're talking about production bikes, they were prettier than they've never been before. This is the I love pretty motorbikes. This is the kind of the zenith, if you like, of what bikes used to look like. Just here on the front cover, you've got iconic bikes. You've got the RC30, Honda RC30 at the back there. You've got the Kawasaki ZX7R 750, say coffee. And you've got the Ducati 916, iconic bikes, really beautiful bikes. And these were all on the grid at the same time. You had some others, so you had the motor occasionally putting in appearances. The GSXR Suzuki, that was in there as well. And what I liked about it during this period was the capacity mix. So, 750 four cylinders. I think it was 1000cc twin cylinders, and it was really good, really competitive, exciting, and as I say, the bikes are at their best. And this gives a kind of year by year analysis of the racing that happened. So it's really good, lovely book. World Superbikes, the first 10 years by Julian Ryder. Right. Okay, the next kind of bike racing book. I love this book. It's a bit long in the tooth, but you can still buy it. Two Wheel Showdown by Christopher Hilton. And it describes, well, the way it says it, the full drama of the races which decided the World 500cc Motorcycle Championship from 1949. So, from 1949, it chronicles the World Championships going on each year, but it also gives a detailed account of the race in that championship year that effectively decided the championship, so the pivotal race. And the way it's written, the prose style is fantastic, and I keep going back to this book all the time. It's written beautifully, and when you read it, you get a sense of the period they're talking about, because obviously it covers everything. Well, I can't remember what year it goes up to. I think it goes up to Kevin Schwantz. So what was that, 93? Let me see, 93. Yeah. From 1949. And you hear about these kind of legendary tracks. Obviously the Isle of Man TT right up until 1976, like the Nürburgring, the Sachsenring, all these places that have gone into myth and legend, really. I have to say, I keep coming back to this book. I often read it once a year, either when I'm on holiday or or at Christmas time when I've got a bit of period off work. It is a fantastic book. It's really good. Probably one of my favourite, if not my favourite, motorbike book. Right, down to the last two. Okay. The Perfect Vehicle by Melissa Holbrook Pearson. And again, this is a book I come back to quite frequently. It's a slightly unusual book in the sense it's a part of kind of a feminist diary. It's in part a motorcycle travel log, But essentially, it's about this woman, Melissa Holbrook Pearson. She's a writer, so she writes for it's based in the US, and she writes on a number of subjects, but kind of abiding passion in life is motorcycling, and she got into it through boyfriends, through partners. Ended up kind of getting her own, and it tracks the kind of her life going through, just generally career, relationships, and the bikes. But the constant in her life seems to have been a Motor Guzzi. In most places, Motor Guzzi Lario, I think it was. And I have to say, I do like Motor Guzzis. I've never owned one. But I have to say, in the future, I might do actually, because they are lovely, and they got a lovely kind of history actually. So this book isn't going to be for everyone, but it's I think it's well worth it. It's an intelligent read. This, okay, the perfect vehicle. Right, and the last one on the list is Rockers by Johnny Stewart. And what this is, it's about British rocker culture, typically in the 60s going into the 70s. So as you can see, it contains lots and lots of photographs, period photographs, particularly around the kind of the 59 Club and the Ace Cafe, that kind of stuff. But it's a really good chronicle of the reasons why the culture kind of came about, the way it took hold. It's just interesting, and I guess it's a kind of style I gravitate to myself. I do love kind of the British bikes of that period. I've never owned one. I did come close recently, but decided to go with the Honda. But it's just such a good, and it's tied up with things like kind of teenage rebellion, rock and roll music, and the fashions associated with it, and the people, and it's just a really good book. Settle down and flip through. Rockers by Johnny Stewart. So I hope you enjoyed that. And as I say, I'll be uploading a few more videos this weekend. Okay, see you soon. Bye bye.